Thank you, Vipul. My name is Srinivas. I represent the intelligence wing of the J&K Police. Generally, intelligence wing people do not get into the public domain, but having been asked to do so, I will definitely place a few thoughts, which I am sure that are already in the public domain, but I will try to put them in a perspective and place it before you. So when in terms of the e-governance initiatives from the intelligence wing, or what we call as CAD wing in J&K, the only interface that we have with people, and the most important part relates to the passport verifications and issuance of the passports. Over a period of time, we have graduated to the extent that now we complete the verification processes and see that any applicant who applies gets his passport delivered at his doorstep in 60 days' time. In fact, in J&K government, there is something called a Public Service Guarantee Act, which makes it mandatory for us to see that all these formalities are completed from our end, that is in terms of the verifications, and we see that they reach the passport office. From there, the passports are made and are delivered to the people, whoever applies for this. It may be in terms of the Hajj passports, which people for whom we deal on priority, and the general passports for the students and other things. The second category is the verifications of the students who get into jobs here or elsewhere in the country. I am sure some of the corporates who are here, you are all doing the programs like Udan and Himayat, where a lot of youngsters are being recruited from here and they are being placed. These are the kind of verifications. These are the places where we have a direct public interface. Coming to the intelligence organizations and other kinds of interface, where we have the private domain, I am sure some of the people who are from the state are maybe very well aware, and for the benefit of some of the people out here, I think the concept of computer or e-governance came into our state, at least into the security establishments in J&K somewhere around 93, 94, when we had the first computers with WordStar and D-based programs operating with us on a Pentium 1, Pentium 2 type of computers. From there we moved a long way and today we claim to be reasonably well placed when we compare ourselves with the rest of the country in terms of our security initiatives, in seeing that we hold on to the security parameters with great grip and also with a lot of finesse, and without impinging onto the private lives of the individuals. Just to give you a thought about the kind of technological literacy and that this state has, the general impression for people who come from outside think that it's a far-off place where you don't have that kind of a wherewithal and infrastructure. But on one count, this state has progressed quite fast, that is in terms of the mobile communication and technology. Our population is about 1 crore 25 lakhs, 1.25 crores. And you'll be amazed to know that the number of people in the age group of say some 12 to 65, that could be the age where people would be using the mobile phones, is not more than 40 to 45 lakhs. And the number of SIM cards, as I speak to you, which are in operation today in J&K is 78 lakhs. 78 lakh mobile phones are in operation in J&K today. And to add to it, among them, that is where the problem comes to us in terms of the intelligence agencies and the security establishment. 69 lakhs of them, I mean, barring 6 lakh, 69 lakh people use their prepaid cards, which they keep changing once in 2 months, once in 3 months. It is here that we find the governance initiative in the private domain to see that they don't go into the wrong hands. I think that is where the security establishment, whether it is the wing I represent or the sister wings which are in the verification of all these SIM cards, and the kind of problems we face impinging onto the national security, I'm sure you're all well aware. That is the greatest challenge as e-governance initiative for us, but definitely in a private domain, which happens inside the closed doors. In terms of our literacy in the state is far less. If I am correct, it's about around 23% of the literacy. But if you look at the literacy on the GPRS-enabled mobile phones, you will be again amazed to know the number of GPRS mobile phones in the state is 32 lakhs. 32 lakh GPRS-enabled phones are in circulation in the state. And I'm sure the number of iPhones and Blackberries which are in circulation vis-a-vis the proportion of the population is far, far, far greater compared to other cities which most of you represent. That is the kind of the advancement we have, and that is the kind of exchange of information and various kinds of activity that take place on the mobile telephony and mobile network out here. as we look into our own infrastructure, the physical infrastructure security, we're all well placed, whether it is intelligence organizations or security organizations. The difference between the security organizations and the many other organizations to which most of you belong is the document security. It is the documentation in the security organizations. We do classify papers, whether it is secret, top secret, or confidential. It is seldom that we find in the mini civil and other organizations. The same applies when it comes to the cyber security. So, one of the speakers was talking about the cyber security earlier. It is in the cyber security paradigm that we find that most of the departments, one, they do not have the background of it, and number two, they do not get sensitized about the sensitivity of the issues, that their computers, their software systems, and their cyber activities can be impinged upon and can be breached upon, and that could create a havoc, especially in a state like us. And that is the mandate that we have to see that our departments, most of the civil departments which we have in the government, no hostile agency penetrates into these systems. We have a couple of our departments in the recent past which got hacked, and the systems have been penetrated upon by the hostile neighbors. But that is where we get in and do the kind of governance. As I was mentioning, it is not in the public domain, but we do these kind of activities. A major problem that we have been finding in the recent past is the issue of the social media. But before I come to the social media, I'll give you a few examples, rest of the country also, as to how these initiatives in terms of the monitoring of the systems of the communication has helped us. The latest being what is happening in the IPL. It is not just the money that is the issue of interest for any one of us. It is the issue of somebody sitting somewhere who is trying to do, one, economic subversion, second, telling upon our own national security, telling to tell upon our own economic infrastructure. These are the places where I think the sensitivity of handling our own systems and seeing that they don't get breached upon by the hostile neighbors. Most of the people who got involved in these kind of activities, I am sure they are not aware or not, they got into it by any design, at least to the extent of the national security. But it does happen that people do get into it, and our systems get breached, and it tells upon the national security. And this is where the request to the organizers and also to the departments is to have capsule courses on sensitization of your own systems. In a computer, the only code, secret or top secret, you have your own email password or the password for your computer. But still, you are susceptible, and the kind of pilferage that takes place in our systems. And more so in a state like us where we have two monsters in our neighbor, so it becomes extremely sensitive for us to see that we don't get breached upon by the hostile neighbors. A few cases, I'm sure some of you must be representing the corporates here. The Radia tapes is a classic case of how corporate governance also got breached upon. In terms of the crime, criminal intelligence and criminal investigation, I'm sure a couple of officers have already spoken. I'll just give you the current case that is going on in the court, is the Arushi murder case, where the functioning of the router in the night, on that particular night when the incident happened, is something which is standing as a major evidence to prove the guilt or otherwise of the people who are involved. So these are the governance initiatives, but the bottom line is we need to attend to these sensitivities. The last issue which I thought I'll flag is the issue of social media. Social media is spreading quite fast, and we have systems on the GPRS-enabled phones, also on the systems, where we have very little to see that we can monitor, whether it is voice over internet protocols, phone calls, or whether it is Skype, whether it is WhatsApp, Viber, and so many other applications that are there. We have not yet graduated enough to see that we can monitor these things, and it is these sites on which the corporate governance or the e-governance will be challenged in the days to come. I'm sure all of us are aware in the past 3 years, these are the social media tools that have changed the destiny of the nation. All dictatorships, regimes have faced it, whether it is Tunisia, whether it is Egypt, whether it is the current ongoing problem in Syria, or the recent past in the case of Libya. These are the places where social media, because of the dictatorship, suddenly they created a kind of a frenzy in the system, and you saw what happened in terms of the overthrow of the governments. It is not that social media tools have not been put into practice by the people here. But democracies have their own way of handling it. I'm sure at least I can cite two cases in our own country where we had this kind of an activity by the social media, one being the Aam Aadmi and Anna Hazare movement. The whole town of Delhi was moving to one side talking about the corruption. But that is where in the private domain, governments and the government initiatives in the e-governance had their own counter-propaganda tools to see that the protests or the kind of frenzy is brought to a manageable level with no loss of life and with no national embarrassment. It is here that you have the hostile neighbors who try to influence our social media, which is not in the public domain. I mean, it is for the practitioners of the security establishment to gauge the mood of the people and also to see that we don't get carried away by the hostile neighbors or hostile agents who try to get onto our systems and to create a kind of subversion into our own system. The second was Aam Aadmi activity, and of course, the recent being the gatherings at the South Block and North Block when the gang rape incident took place. Everybody talked about the protests, everybody talked about the kind of agony that people went through at the time and the kind of sensitivity that got associated with it. But I think very little credit went to the security establishment there in Delhi, which solved the case just because of that government initiative of holding, monitoring the systems that were available in terms of the people who were involved, the driver of the bus. These are the initiatives they do not get into public domain, but I assure you, I am sure the security establishments in this place, I am sure in the rest of the country, are quietly but successfully handling these initiatives. We always maintain the stand that we need to try 100 times and we need to succeed all the 100 times. The other side, the hostile agent need to succeed only once. I need to fail once. So the balance of equation is definitely not in my favor, but we cannot afford to fail, because any failure here would mean a very damaging kind of a repercussion that we have. So coming back to the issue, is the sensitivity of the organizations in e-governance initiatives to see that we get sensitized. There is one issue, I am sure, most of the participants, I am sure, when the people from the security establishment raise these issues, sometimes we will be seen on the side of being perverse or sometimes even being eccentric and becoming overcautious about these security requirements. We do appreciate, but at the same time, the other system, the civil systems and other systems in the civil departments are too porous because of the non-sensitivity sensitization programs that you have in the systems. Coming to the other activities of the monitoring of the phones or other systems, we appreciate everybody's privacy also, but you also appreciate the sensitivity of the national security. I think we need to somewhere reconcile the requirements of the national security and also the sensitivities that are associated with the privacy of the individuals. And I think once we strike a balance, I am sure the initiatives, whether it is in the security paradigm or rest of the paradigms, will take us a long way. Thank you.